Good morning, everybody. I'm David. That's
And
Craig.
I'm Craig.
And we're excited today on Porch Talk. We have Mr. Edgar Garcia Chavez joining us. So, without further ado, we're going to get on into that right away. There's a lot of things to talk about. This is a person involved in film and theater and charitable organizations, and does a great many things. I will let you, Edgar, tell us about you. What's first off? Tell us where you're from, that sort of thing. Go from there.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm Edgar Garcia Chavez. I'm a independent filmmaker here in Portland, Oregon. I'm originally from Mexico, from Guadalajara, and then I moved to New Mexico like 20 years ago because I have a degree in architecture, so I went to do a master's degree there, and I
Oh,
worked there in Albuquerque for a while, and then I moved to New York with my wife and worked there a little bit, and then for the last 10 years we'll be here in Portland, Oregon, and I started this small production companies called Nayu Creative Productions, and I'm trying to do basically the motivation for that. It was uh, I'm trying to get like um, representation, right? So I didn't see when I first started, like I was doing acting, that kind of stuff, and I mean a lot of the roles was just like in the kitchen, right? And then they were not like, well, I can do other things, right? But I was not getting that much opportunities. So I said, well, I'm gonna start creating those opportunities for myself and other people as well, right? So for the last 7 years, we're doing like several projects that I'm hopefully what I call edutainment, right? Education and entertainment, right? So they deal with topics that are a little hard to deal with, a little bit of a gallows humor, right? So something that is we use humor to tackle some topics that sometimes are hard to if you take it seriously. And
If I may ask you, how did you make the leap from architecture? Yeah, and I imagine you were designing and doing stuff of that nature uh, to acting and film. I mean, did you have any background in acting or film or any of that prior to
uh,
this? I'm trying to make the connection here.
Mhm. Yeah, so as you can see, I have a few things here. So all these are my paintings and drawings and stuff like that. It's a poster over here. So I always like it. I like the image, right? How to create images, how to like do stuff like that, right? And
Art,
art, right? And so I started architecture. It's a lot of drawings and a lot of that kind of thing.
sure, I see it.
And and um, and I did that for a while. So basically, a lot of the connections between film and um, architecture, as you can see, is a lot of pre-production planning projects, right? So you project to try to have a product. You spend a lot of time designing,
Well,
or
I get
create.
that. What I want to know is here.
Uh huh.
I mean, you said you're an actor, and you're doing these other things, films, or you're making movies. I, I understand about the connection with the art,
Hmm.
but acting, directing, telling stories, and creating films, that's a whole different monster.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and that's where I'm going.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of acting, right? So I was testing, right? So when I first started film, I was doing everything. So acting, directing, writing, director photography, sound, you know, all that kind of stuff to see what kind of, I guess, like what do I like to do in that kind of stuff, right? And when I started, I was doing like just images, like
hmm
abstract. So I actually started with film, like a Super 8 millimeters, 16 millimeters, stuff like that, to actually develop in film and all the stuff. And the stories I was
Wow.
creating, they were just abstract, right? In some way. So there was no actors, there was not, but you still have a story, right? So if you see water dripping with the music and all that, it tells a story, right? So that was doing something like that, but that was taking a long time. By the time you develop and then you get to reshoot the stuff. I'm here in Portland, Oregon. The weather, exterior landscape looks completely different. So it was a lot. And now that they start doing digital, I mean, you can just check it at the time you film, right? You do it, and then you got it, right? And that's kind of like the like how the story. So then when I started talking with other people, what here in Portland, the way I started is called a organization is called Open Signal, and this it is a professional TV studio that is for the community, right? And it's
Sure.
sponsored by Comcast.
Sure.
So
Community
that one,
access.
yeah, exactly. So the idea that is you take a class, you understand, you learn how to use the equipment, and you help people with the projects. They help with yours. So that's how it started. I was helping people to see how they do it, how like they create.
What's your interest in it though? Why film? I mean, why not, something else, engineering, medicine. I mean, why film?
Well, the short question is because I like it. You know, that's the
good answer.
growing up. I mean, I was trying to look at always try the growing up in Mexico, go to like I always find that as like to me the experience to go to a theater is like you can have whatever emotions going on, and you go to a theater and the emotion the film change that emotion to something else.
Yes.
So not necessarily better. It could be a drama, it could be horror, it could be like whatever, right? But in those 2 hours that are like you are like um, secluded in that, is like a spiritual retreat to me. Like you go there, and then in 2 hours you can do anything else, right? You have to watch whatever, and sometimes the movies are good or not, depends what you like. You get there with a different experience, right? So you go watch like
Right.
a really funny film and you are in a bad mood and it changes, or the other way around, you go watch a documentary about a lot of the injustice that happens in the world, and you're in a happy mood and you go there and you say, oh man, the world sucks. So those are the basically, and the motivation, all the stuff. Like I'm in Portland, Oregon, there's not a lot of diversity here. It was to try to tell the stories in a different way and trying to bring or give voice and opportunity and representation to minorities, basically, right?
Are you
So not
finding
only
it challenging as a Mexican national to get things done in Oregon? Are they receptive to you and the type of vision that you have relative to that?
so there is chance. So I'm trying to get as much diversity as possible, right? I'm trying to get at least, the goal is at least 50% of my productions will have minorities of some sort, women or people of
Sure.
color, LGBTQ or whatever, right? But sometimes it's not a possible, right? So it doesn't work
Yeah.
out, right? So for
Yeah.
one of my films, I was looking for a Mexican kid that played an altar boy in a church, right? Because he speaks Spanish. The dialogue, it was in Spanish, right? So, and I was trying to get people. I was like, we do the casting and that, and the people that are showing up or were just not delivering, right? They were too shy, and they were just not given the part, right? So I ended up casting a Jewish white kid, long hair, that spoke Spanish. So that's that
Oh,
because that kid he was fluent, right? And he's only like 9 years old. So he was really happy to be part of it, and that he is speaking Spanish, right? And so yeah, so he did it. I mean, it was not the one that had, but it was not happening, right? And then we have a time constraint, as you know, with small projects, right? And so it is, right. And a lot of the things, like what I'm doing here, is like I'm trying to bring a vision. It's not only the short films or whatever I do. It's not only Portland, right? I've been these films have been in Toronto, Atlanta, Miami,
nice.
Houston, LA. I mean, this, like the West Coast, Seattle. So a lot of them have good reception, but sometimes they don't, right? So sometimes the feedback is not positive. But I think that's value as well, right? So what is the
Mhm.
thing that they think that is? I mean, I one of the things for architecture, it kind of trains you to be numb about criticism, because
Yeah.
all the projects that you do in architecture school and stuff, they're awful. Even though you think you're good, they come out, and that's the technique. At least when I went to school, they are like, already, oh, that was a good attempt, but you suck because this, and this. So you look at this, and this. So when you get now in film, when you get people get a feedback that's not positive, it's like, okay, what is it, right? Is this valid? Do they have a point? Because I'm saying I'm learning, right? And in film, you're always learning. Uh, what is it that they didn't like or didn't not, and that's fine, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a it's not a Hallmark movie.
When you're talking about different topics earlier, Edgar, what topics you explored in your films?
So so what I'm doing here, there's not a lot of diversity, and that's by design, right? In Portland, in Oregon.
Hmm.
So this film that I have here, what is it, my right, left, is called
Yeah.
Ghost Recent Past, right? And I'm promoting that film, and that's based on deals with racism as a dark comedy, and uh, and I use comedy to tackle the subject, right? So um, Portland was uh, founded, or the Constitution didn't allow Black people to own property. That was written in the Constitution, right? And that stayed in the Constitution. And I just learned like 10 years ago. I learned that when I moved here, right? That stayed in the Constitution to like 2012. So it took like Oregonians 150 years to remove that from the Constitution. You know,
Wow.
so and it passed a big majority, it's like 70-30. But what I caught my eye is like 30% of the people didn't see anything wrong with it.
It wasn't in here in California, in Santa Clara County. There was racial discrimination, as well as I'm sure where Craig lives down in Huntington Beach area in Southern California, where they had racial restrictions. You couldn't sell property to Asians, to Chinese, to
Mm-hmm.
blacks, and this was even into the 70s before it got abrogated.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, incredible racism, and I like what your perspectives are. Craig asked, what are you trying to do? Where are you coming from? Was thematically, why, what, and I like that, looking at injustices, framing them within a story, so you're not didactic and trying to shove your opinions down somebody's throat, but rather entertain them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're about, CRA. Our mission has always been to entertain, inform, and hopefully enlighten.
Mm-hmm.
And that, right, like that, entertain first and foremost. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. So I think
yeah,
like
if you,
that's
if you can't entertain them, you're not going to keep them.
yeah, exactly, right. So I think that's a great opportunity, right? And going back to Craig, so the other things that I tackled was one of the films deals with the incest. The other one
Oh,
deals with that's not a comedy, but
yeah.
deals with lynching. That's another one. Uh, uh, and let me see what other. And the other one, I do a drag queen talk show. It's called Lulu's Clubhouse, and that one I was trying to
Are these
promote.
films?
So Lulu's Clubhouse is a series. So each one of them is like it travels to a different local businesses. So a Mexican a food cart, or a bookstore.
It's a theatrical event.
No, they're a series. It's like a TV series. So
Oh,
they're like a half an hour. No,
I get
like 10 minutes. Let me say. So we have filmed 5 of those, but they're
Oh,
not out
Are
yet.
these all community access?
No, they're all private.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So
Awesome.
the community access allow as well to have, if you are trying to be a social something, they'll give you a rate to help that. But this one is on the, we did a green screen at the studio, and then everything was out in the field, right? Oh, the
oh,
other one I do, I was, sorry, Craig, is I do a cooking show for blind people. It's called the Blind Kitchen.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so we teach blind. I would say blonde. The host is blonde, and so we always make fun of that. But we have done that for the last 3 years, and we have over 90 episodes. And so basically, it's a business, and it's actually doing good. It's a profitable business. Uh, she sells tools. If for each tool, I make a video that teach you how to use it, why is blind friendly, how to clean it, how to store it. So
That's great.
so we have, and for that one, it's doing good. We got podcasts. We're being in.
I want to comment on this. I'm not being an asshole, but I got to be straight up. You're making videos for blind people.
Mm-hmm.
You're making videos for blind people.
That's what you think. So
yeah, exactly. So, and I think the audience is too. How do you work? I mean,
I use this metaphor. Who's the client in the cemetery?
Well, of course, it's the person outside. Of course. But
So
here's so
so
what you're going to do is you're
yeah,
going to teach
so
somebody who can see how to help somebody who can't see.
so a lot of the stuff is sound, right? So one of the things, right? So most of the people they're blind, they're not 100% blind.
Okay.
So that's one. So there's low vision, there is like a visual impaired, there's several levels. So for Deborah, for example, the host, she can see the difference between day and night,
Great.
and she can see a bright spot of light. So when we're
Wow.
filming, so we have 5 cameras, right, at the studio. We film a studio kitchen. So we have left, right, center, on the top, and the back. So when we want her to look in that direction, camera 1, we put a camera next to the camera, a light next to the camera. So we shake the light, and she knows in the direction. And
Wow.
the other thing we do is everything is audio described. So in silence is no information for blind people. So when Deborah is not doing or when she's not talking, we have a voiceover actor that describes the movement she's making.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Oh my
and we won
God.
we won an award for it. We won an award, best audio description award for the National Association of the Blind, and last year.
Wow,
Where's your
that's
distribution for
incredible.
this?
Sorry.
Where's this distributed? How does the
So
public see this?
so it's online. So it's got a website. It's called theblindkitchen.com. It's open to everyone, and we not only have videos for that we make. We have she's a very giving person, and she have a lot of knowledge. So we have
Yeah.
articles and all stuff, recipes. Uh, Cooking doesn't start in the kitchen. She teach you how to go to a supermarket. Everything is by yourself, right? Independent completely. So you go
Mm.
go to the supermarket, know what is a can of tomatoes, a can of soup, and a can of peas, and whatever. So she has techniques for all that, and you can go to the website and you can learn how to do it. Uh, how to eat in a restaurant? How do you know where is your plate? How is your napkin? All that. So she has all that information is there for everyone for free, right?
Have
Wow.
you ever done an on-site shot where one of the people who are taking your lessons vis-a-vis your videos actually goes out to a restaurant and is actually doing what you're promoting through your videos, and the camera follows them, and you do that and you say, see, this is what he learned, or she, and they're in the restaurant, they're doing those whole things. Have you ever done anything like that?
We haven't done that. We did something similar, and that's what we did dining in the dark. So there is a restaurant here that you can go there, and then you get blindfolded, everyone, and
Wow.
then you eat, right? So for Deborah, and she brought a couple of friends that are blind. They were having a great time because they always eat like that, right? For us, like myself, you always get air bites, right? You grab something, and when you put it in your mouth, there's nothing there, and
Yeah.
but they'll teach you, right? And what other things we have done a cooking challenge. So Deborah will cook a meal. She did like a shrimp with poached egg, and something like that. And then we have a chef. This is a live event, so we do it in Zoom. We have a chef to replicate that meal blindfolded to see how
Nice.
hard it is, right? So it was pretty entertaining, obviously, because the chef was in his kitchen, and he did really well. But once in a while, he's looking for something. There was one time that he's looking for something, and everybody's like, because it's a live event, right? People in the comments say, "Can we tell him it's just right a little higher? It's almost
Yeah.
there," and he couldn't find it. He just like looking and looking.
Yeah.
But we haven't done a lot of stuff going out because she keeps finding a lot of so it's a business, right? So the tools is what makes the money. She keeps finding tools. Like people ask her, how I do this. So then she finds a way to figure out, right, how to do those things.
Nice.
I'll give you one example is and a lot of the tools are not meant for blind people. They're meant for everyone.
Sure.
But one of the
Yeah.
tools is a ceramic disc. It's like an inch and a half in diameter, and it's flat in one side and it has a little texture on the other side, right? So you put this disc on when you're gonna make pasta or something like that, and you can leave it, turn on the heat, and the water will never spill over, so you don't have to watch the water ever, right?
Wow.
And what it does is because when the water start bubbling, the reaction with the ceramic, it stops the bubbles to grow to a certain dimension, right? And then, but what it does instead of sound, it rattles. So that rattle tells you, oh, okay, water is ready. And if you want to do a simmer or a poach eggs or something like that, then just lower the heat, the rhythm will change, and then you know what the water temperature is. So that's one of it's called the boil alert this, right? So
Wow.
So it's not just educational, but you actually provide tools in that regard. And it seems to me like you're providing something else, like a social environment where people can come together and share common experiences or understandings as to what they're doing.
yeah. So I mean, we're like, we have a website, we have a YouTube page, we have Vimeo, we have Instagram, Facebook, all that you can reach, and we always try to get people, involved if you have any questions or
And
whatever.
they're all audio. So when somebody goes to the website, they click on or whatever they do, however they do it, because I know the computers themselves are all in Braille. Okay, I know. So there's no problem with that.
Yeah, so they have what they call alt text, right? So uh, all the images and all that, when you have that, they describe what the images are.
Nice.
In the text, you can read it, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of tools that you have that your computer can talk to you, right? Yeah, there's just a lot of things, and she when she came out to me, saying it's like I'm teaching. She teaches the Oregon Commission for the Blind, and I'm reaching like 20 students, and I'm teaching the same thing, right? Every day, and it was like, it's so much energy can have. How can I reach bigger audience, right? So I mean, the other day we check out, and like in a month we got like 10,000 views, right, on YouTube, right?
Wow.
Then it's like, I mean, it's not a big number, but it's good for us, right?
Good size number.
Huh?
Good size number, sure.
Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
in so then it's getting a lot, and there's people all over the world, right? So we sold stuff to New Zealand, Austria, Germany, England, Mexico, Canada, right? And then the other thing that I learned is shipment is free, because for handicap or people with disabilities, the government doesn't charge you. So that's a big
Oh,
plus
that's
for a lot
great.
of people. Mhm.
Yeah, as soon as you say government, it rings bells all over the place in my head about other topics, which I will forego at this time.
Yeah. It's
But-
not all bad. It's not all bad.
It's not all bad.
Craig,
Absolutely.
are you in Southern California?
Yeah, I live
Southern
in
California, Orange County.
Are you? Is that on the LA area? Or
Yeah,
the fires and
right adjacent.
stuff?
Right adjacent. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, right south of the fires. I'm sure you've been going.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it was like that.
horrible business, those fires, what's going on down there. But, filmmaking, that's what we've done. I've been involved in films and theater and that business off and on most of my life. Craig jumped in, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, decided he might do something with this. And quite successfully he did, as a matter of fact. At the beginning, you said how you got into this. You reminded me of Craig, because Craig did the same thing. He won some awards as a filmmaker, an independent filmmaker, and he shot everything. He did all the sound, all the acting, everything, the producing, the whole 9 yards, right? That's kind of how we met shortly thereafter, I believe. And I always wonder, because I know what drives me crazy and why I do this, but I always wonder, why does somebody get involved in this? And, because like you've been telling me is an enterprise, and I get that. Filmmaking, I don't see it as an enterprise. I see it as a dead art form, straight up. It's an art form. And it's going through a lot of changes. Why do you do it? Why do I tell stories? I know why I do it. I have other motivations behind my stories all the time. I'm trying to put in other points of views, perspectives, ideologies, whatever, and guise it in a way in which it's acceptable as entertainment. So when I meet somebody like you, who's you got all this background with all these other things, filmmaking, what's about that? Now I know what this other business is.
Mhm.
What about just filmmaking, storytelling? And I know you commented a little bit about that, saying you made some stories about the various lynchings and things, because you actually said some things. It kind of reminded me of The Crumbs. This is a film that we did,
Mm-hmm.
and it has all those elements in there: incest. Okay, there's murder. There's a lot of weird stuff happening in this film. They're a murderous family based on a true murderous family.
Yeah, you were telling me about it.
Yeah, and I'm like, now I know why we made that film, and what we were trying to do, and of course, entertain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing first, because if I can't keep your attention, nothing else matters. And then inform. We have a scene in The Crumbs where Dr. Crumb commits a heinous murder on a little boy, little black boy. A lot of people got pissed off at that scene and got upset. One person said she would walk out of the theater. And I'm like, well, yeah, you should be upset.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's in there, to upset you. So I love what you said earlier, having that variety of emotions on those days and going to watch that film. And, because I grew up with movies, and I spent almost every Saturday at the theater, no matter what, all day long, and Sunday too, if I could. And come out of there just emotionally spent, adventures and crying and anger. And, so where are you with all that? The storytelling aspect. What are some of the films you're involved in or you've done?
Well, a lot of the things they're trying to say or show is representation, right? Trying to show a different point of view, right? So I'm not really looking as like, oh, what is trendy, what is like happening already, and then trying to create that, right? I usually trying to get, like we say for the ghost, right? It's a ghost story, but it's not what you expect, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what I was trying to do, and all the stuff. So a different point of view, and then after we watch the film, and then can talk about it. Like I really enjoy the Q&As and that, and trying to invite always the actors and people like that, and say uh, with the public, and say, okay, what do you guys think, right? So this film and another film like this called Black and White, we had an art exhibit for it at the Oregon Society of Artists, and there was mostly paintings, and these two films were the only ones that were like media, right? And then the director of the gallery told me, it's like, oh, people here are a little older, so there might be a little bit of more like conservative views or something like that, right? So it kind of warned me that they might not be as receptive. So we put the film, and everybody was like older, like 70, 80 kind of thing, but everybody was like really like they laughed so hard, and they're really involved, and they have a lot of questions that were very interesting, and then questions that were something not related, but that was fine. So there is like this idea of like putting something there that like hopefully is like never done before, or never seen in a way, right? Not completely, because the whole idea of originality, I think it's unique in some way, but and then hopefully gets people talking, right? Have a conversation, have a discussion. We don't have to agree, right? And that's kind of thing like what I feel like is very rewarding, specifically when you watch it on theaters, right? When you watch it in a big screen, you see people how react. For a specific film, but it's a comedy, right? So I wrote it in a way, okay, people try to understand comedy, how it works, and they say, oh, people are gonna laugh at this point, and at this point, you know what I mean? And sometimes they did it, but sometimes they laugh at something else that it was like, oh, that didn't supposed to be funny, But then that's kind of like you're learning, right? So okay, we'd see what, and then different audiences, right? So you play in Portland, they react in one way, in LA a different way, in Miami was a different way. You know what I mean? It's like a different the crew and the age as well, right? So for the older crowd, they were really engaging. Younger crowd were a little more quiet. So it's just like I think to me it's like a social experiment, right? You put something there and then see how people react, right? Because I always try to tell not to give a lot of information. Then people see it and then they say, okay, oh, okay, I was not expecting that. I was not like be exposed to that, right?
Do
But
you
yeah, so
think
that's
I'm sorry, but you mentioned something that just strikes a chord with us all the time. Do you think that different ethnic groups or cultures expect to see different things in a film, in a storyline? For example, our first film we did, The Evil Down the Street, which is based on a true story, okay, with the characters already from reality mapped out. We're not recreating those characters. Uh, and we had a premiere at the Chinese Theater, and we were very excited, Craig and I, and they did a Q&A afterwards. And believe it or not, the first question almost that we were asked was, how come we didn't have any black people in it?
Mhm.
And we're like, well, this is based on a true story, and they weren't black.
Well, that's the answer, right? Well, yeah, we didn't have black people because I don't know, like whatever decisions
Yeah.
you make, right? So there's, for example, one question I have on this scene. There's a couple on bed, right? So there's no nudity, but there's implied sex, right? And one of the questions is, do you have a what's it called, intimacy coordinator on set,
Mhm.
right? And I say, no, we didn't have it. And it's like, why didn't? It's like, there was no money. There was
Yeah.
no money, but they didn't really think about it either, right? So, but that was kind of the and the whole thing too is saying this: you can do a point of view, and then stuff like this is not like always trying to tell us this is not uh like I'm not a role model. This is like an encompassing thing that everything is going to be solved. This is just one point of view at one time and one idea by one person or a
Right.
group of people, and that explain and try to get the things right. So um, and it deals with certain topics and trying to go and that's what that's the goal of that specific. And this is a short film; it's 10 minutes, right? So the story tells is only one or two stories. It's not a feature film, but you can have a more complex set of emotions and characters. And but yeah, a lot of the things like what I'm trying to get is talk about is representation, right? Trying to get different voices out. Like I'm doing I did a feature film that is in post production. It's called The Subcontractors, and 20% of the film is in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
And it was important to me as a Mexican director and writer to have some of that, right? And people speak Spanish throughout in certain parts of the film, right? So there's a little bit of there of the culture, and that's kind of like one way to do things, right? I mean, people can say, oh, have black people. When I say, well, we have one guy that is mixed. Does that count? Uh, so I don't think you can please everyone to a lot of things, right? But I think all those
Right.
questions are valid as well, right? When you ask TV shows, they're like, oh, it's a really nice show. It's like, oh, wait, there's not a person of color in New York, you know, or in LA. Oh, there's not a person that is not white in East LA, right? That like I don't know, 50-60% are Mexicans or something, right? Or Latin Americans, right? So I think it's a valid point, and I think it comes out from uh, the issue with Hollywood before, right? When you have a Mexican guy, you have a guy that just has a
Oh,
powder. And
wait a minute. You telling me you had a problem with Mickey Rooney being Chinese and under the yum yum tree? Or
I
did
don't think
you
I've
know
seen
that
it now,
movie?
but like this whole thing is I would say is complicated, right? So to me, an actor should be play whatever, right?
I
But
think actors are actors.
yeah, but
However,
yeah, I see the problem as well that if we have you're telling this guy is Cleopatra, right? And he's white blue eyes, right? So it's like, well, I'm
doesn't
not
work.
sure. You know what I mean? But
I
a lot.
agree with you.
I mean, I'm gonna say this like it's a complicated topic, and I think what you do is like to me is instead of trying to censor other people not to do things, is do it yourself. Do the things that you want to create, and that's
Right.
A
if
very
it.
famous director told me one time when asked my opinion about something I viewed of his, which I really liked what he did. It was done artistically awesome, but so what thematically? And he
Mhm.
told me, "Oh, go do your own goddamn film."
Yeah.
I said, "All right," and he
Well,
was right.
yeah, I mean, I think that's like a lot. Like if you asked me before, why do you do this stuff? It's like, well, because I guess, wanna see stuff that I more connected to it than other. Instead of trying to say people, oh, do this, do that. so I can watch it and say, okay, I'll do it, and then say how hard it is and then complicate it. And then when you're trying to create one story, and then when it's finished, then you can see all the issues with it, right?
Right.
Yeah, and there are a lot. You can't. We don't try to please anybody. We try to tell a story wherever the story comes from. And for us, it's not a matter of who we need to include ethnically, but who's right for the part.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If it happens to be a Mexican or an African or a Chinese or whoever, that's who's going to get the part. Now, I will write with specific ethnicities in mind. I have some scripts that are like that, straight out. The lead is Mexican. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the
that's why I wrote it.
Mhm.
And I got some of they're black. It just depends on what the issue is and what the topic is and where we're going with this. What it's about. One of the things about inclusivity for me that's so important is inclusivity, which means everybody,
Mhm.
not just this group or that group or those who speak this language or that language. Everybody, period. And people they say they want to do that, but they don't.
Mhm.
They cater to their own, and I get it. I know that, believe me, I get it. This business is all about who's your friend and who can help you and who's willing to take the risk, because it's the risky business we're in. There's no doubt.
Right.
Of the 4 films, well, actually, we've done more than 4 films, but of the 4 that are out there, each one had its own little problems, or shall I say, each one had some had a little bit more than little.
Yeah, that all.
Yeah.
But we liked doing this. Craig got suckered into meeting me and talked into doing these other films. He convinced me to work on his film, and I said, "All right, are you gonna do mine?" And we kind of got. But he's probably the only person I've been able to work with. He's a professional. He's we're of the mindset that if you're going to do something, do it. We spend more time on pre-production planning than anything else. We've
Yeah,
spent
that's
a
good.
year.
So, Craig, so what is your background? Are you a producer, director? What do you do?
My background was mortgage banking. I was a banker for years and years and years and years and years.
Mm.
And then 2007 came,
Mm.
and I was a banker from 83 to 2007. And that was it. 2008 was really a bad year for
Mhm.
a lot of people who held in. So for me, I'm in my mid 50s. I was 54, whatever it was. And I was out of mortgage banking. So then a good friend of mine who was an actor encouraged me to attend his acting academy, which I had no idea he had. I had a little dessert company, so I did that. But the key word there is little dessert company, and then drifted into filmmaking. But my career for years, Edgar, and how I raised as a single dad for years, was principally mortgage banking. That was the main income stream for years and years and years. And I frankly thought, excuse me, I would retire as a mortgage banker, as a loan officer. How I started, and at this, frankly, at this stage of life, I do 2-3 loans a month and work maybe 2-3 days a week, and that's it. But again, 2007 came, and that was a game changer for not just mortgage banking. I mean, for really all of us. Let's say accountants, anybody in business. Let's say folks in your industry as well. I mean, that was devastating to most every industry. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
Well, he cheapens himself. He's got numerous credits on Criminal Minds and a lot of other television credits and stuff he's done. So don't let him fool you. And he's produced these films with me. We've worked on these films jointly, the ones that we've put out there. So yeah, he's a good actor. He's a good producer. We've worked, like I said, hand in hand on a daily basis with all the films that we've put out. So I do it because I don't know. It's a sickness I developed as a young child.
Nice, nice. So I think it's like anything, you have to love it, right? So be able
Yo,
to put all the stuff. And I was going to ask you too. So you say you have a premiere at the Chinese theater, David?
yes, we had The Evil Down the Street was premiered there.
How because I have a feature, right? Trying to see how was it, how it was too expensive. How do you get it to do it?
I don't even know how that came about, quite frankly. Craig, I think you arranged that, didn't you?
Yeah, going by memory, it was something
cultural
like a
film
film
event?
festival. It was a film festival called like Indie Film. It was some film festival,
Oh, okay.
and that's how we got our film in and seen. You know, if you're interested, Edgar, I could do some. I'm going to have to go back and do some checking.
Mhm.
I could piece it together and figure it out and send it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to. I well, yeah, I was having.
Because I think they do it for short film. Ours was a feature, but I think they do the same
Mm.
for short films too.
Yeah,
So I'll figure it out for you.
oh, cool. Yeah, so I have the feature film. I'm trying to see, when to have a premiere and where it goes, right? So
Okay.
I still don't know.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, but
If not
definitely,
today,
I would love
tomorrow.
to have something in LA, because I think that
Well,
I mean,
there you
obviously,
go. There
I
you go.
like the
That could work well.
yeah, I like the. I mean, I've been working all the West Coast, right? Seattle, Portland,
Yeah,
LA, San Francisco, kind of thing, right? So I'm trying to
sure.
see, trying to invite people. Some of the actors are in LA, and
Hmm.
uh, uh, yeah. So if you, yeah, any information on the stuff,
Okay.
let me know always. I think that will. Okay, we are in the final stages post production and trying to then figure out, probably do film festivals, and then hopefully distribution. We'll see. But I would definitely want to see it in theaters, even if you got to rent it ourselves, because well, if there's budget. uh, because I think this is just the best way to see it, right? Once you see it on
Sure.
TV and stuff, it's just. I mean, I
It's
know it does
not the same. Just not the same.
yeah, it's not the same, and it's put so much effort, and definitely would
Right.
like to, it's a treat for everybody that was involved, right? Because
Right.
every film, as you know, is probably, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 people involved, uh, and everybody puts just. I mean, everybody gets paid, but for small productions, is they don't do it for the money. We don't do it necessarily,
Yeah.
right? But trying to get something out of it.
Exactly.
Well, it looks like we're getting close to a marker here.
We're coming up to the 45-minute mark.
Yeah, good
Right.
conversation though. Great
Yeah, I know.
conversation.
Yeah.
I'd certainly like to stay in touch with you and talk about some, maybe, who knows, you never know, we can get together on something. We seem, or I feel anyway, that there's a lot of aligned purposes here, which I like. I've scripts, you've scripts, I'm sure. I'd enjoy sharing mine with you, get your opinion. You never know, where things lie. And if there's something we could do to help you in some way, that we'll do. We work with some people in England, or no, Scotland,
Oh,
who are been putting together episodes of the William Wallace Trail.
oh, interesting.
We've been advising with them for about 2 years now. I think they're on episode 5 now. Episode 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. The stuff. I have my
Yeah.
passport. I love to go there. I've never been to Ireland.
I'll tell you, we have a good time with these people,
Yeah.
but sometimes I don't know what they're telling me. Okay.
Yeah, that probably be the,
Okay. But you got to understand. It's the way you're talking about it. Okay.
that's funny. Though. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, always like it's always great to meet creative people. They're trying to do good. They're trying to pretend, trying to create, and I think like you guys have done it, right? So I think always when I talk to people that are younger generation, trying to say just do it, right? Create whatever you can, even if like because now we say like there's no skill. You have a phone, might not be great, but at least you have something out, right? You can start building
Right.
your
right.
stories, test your stories, right? You can test it with your phone, right? It's basically the same frame. It's not
I'm
going to be the same quality, but somebody got to start at some point. And I think you guys, I mean, kudos to you guys that have done several work. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm definitely going to watch it.
Hey, Craig,
Then
send
at
him
least-
the link tree, the tree link.
Oh, you don't have a link to films, Edgar?
I haven't set up, but I have my website. I'll send you my website.
Okay, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link to our films.
Oh yeah, excellent. And
All
I'll
right.
check it out. See,
No, the only
David
thing
was
we ask about seeing our films, if you like them, please tell everybody. If you don't like them, don't even tell anybody you saw it. Okay.
I know.
What
I got that
film?
stuff done. Oh, we can,
Keep it,
let's
keep it to
you have
yourself.
them on always try to switch. You have an IMDb probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna switch. You wanna exchange good reviews. You review mine. I'll review yours.
Absolutely. Send
I'll
us
be
your
glad to.
Yeah. So I'll
Glad to.
I'll send you the links. I mean, I have a lot that are short film. I'll just send you a couple of those to guys and
Be
Yeah, we'll
glad
watch
to.
I'll watch yours. I know I hear the story about Crumbs. I'll definitely check that one and the Evil. It's always like evil things.
Demon Fighter.
Yeah,
Love
and
Quarantine.
yeah. So like it's gonna be a good review, and it just helps to
Well, yeah, I
you know.
appreciate that, but brother, please, we are not tripping. It is what it is. If you
Mhm.
like it, great. If you don't like it for whatever reason, that's okay too. Okay, you never owe us a positive review because you know us. I don't do that. Don't ask me the truth unless you really want to know it. I'm
Yeah. So
very straight up and disclosed and transparent.
mhm.
It's just my training and who I am, which is why I don't have many friends.
Don't worry, you got a friend with me. I'll say good things about you. Yeah, it should be fine. I mean, I always tell this like there's a lot of like finish a film is a huge accomplishment in itself. Like I always tell
Sure,
people that the worst film is way better than the best film that's never made, right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
finish it because I talk to people that, for short films and for whatever reason they didn't finish it or they're one of those well annoys me is like I was acting in a film. It's like 4 years ago, and they finish it. They do film festivals and everything, but it was never released, so
Oh,
nobody saw it, right? So and I was like, "Oh, can I get at least my footage?"
Uh,
So they give me that part, right? But they was like, "Well, why didn't release it to people to see it, right?" But it's their decision, and but they did it on
yeah.
festivals. They went to festivals, and but I don't know, right?
our films have been in distribution since they were made. Our first film, we had, I think, what, 9 offers.
Yeah.
We're big on vetting. We brought it down to a distributor that we appreciate, and we've been with this distributor since. They've put our other films out as well. You can see them on Tubi and all these different
Mhm.
platforms. Craig knows, but we'll send you the link tree. And
Yeah.
and we always tell
Excellent.
people, we're no great genius. We do work hard. We are organized. We shot every film under 16 days, on or under budget.
Nice.
Uh, we're big on that. So, and that's our background. Craig's got a strong administrative background, mine as well, and we just love doing this crazy shit. But I'll be honest with you, we've slowed down. Craig has new grandchildren coming up left and right. His
All
kids,
over the place.
his kids are busy,
Nice.
Yeah.
It might be
so he's
Mexican, man,
spending,
because Mexican reproduce.
Yeah.
he's spending more time doing that than making
Yeah.
films. But he's still very active administratively with the company and
Oh, nice.
getting stuff out there. On the other hand, myself, I'm still a victim of my disease, so I'm still into doing it. As a matter of fact, he's my agent and my manager, and I'm getting out there again to see some auditions. And I love acting. I'm a director, so we'll see what happens. You never know. Somebody gives me the right money, I'll go do it.
Excellent. Good luck. Good luck with all
Never
the
know.
projects.
Hey, it's happened before. I fooled them before, so what the hell, right? Let's see what happens. Edgar, it's a pleasure meeting you, talking with
Yeah.
you. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed your company.
yeah. It was really nice meeting you guys, and yeah, if you can collaborate, we don't know in the future. Let me know what you guys doing. And I was telling you, I got my passport. I can go to Ireland.
Awesome. Hey, and hopefully we'll see you again on Porch Talk, man. Either way,
Yeah. It's like let me know if you have stuff.
I
Let me know
certainly
what's
will.
out, and I'll check you guys out as well. See other. I'm sure you guys had other guests that are probably very interesting as well, and I'll
Oh
check
yeah.
you guys.
Oh yeah.
We're here in the usually on the West Coast. That's what I do most of the. You say you're in Southern
Mhm.
California, right, Craig? And baby, you say
I'm
you're
in
like San
Northern
Francisco,
California.
I think.
I'm in the Sacramento, northern Sacramento area.
Sacramento. Oh, okay. So
Now I'm
that's
way
kind
up
of the
north.
stuff, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
close to that.
All
Excellent.
right.
I'm here in Portland, Oregon. So you guys want to come enjoy the rain?
Hey, let us know when you got stuff coming up. Let us know when you got stuff coming up, and you come on and promote it. We'll go from
Oh,
there.
excellent. Yeah. So
Yeah.
for we're close to stuff, but we don't know. Yeah, this is my first one, so I don't know a lot of things yet, but definitely very excited to. It's definitely going to be this year.
Sounds good.
Right
So,
on.
we'll have it. So very
All right,
nice meeting
brother.
you guys, and
Good meeting
see you
you.
guys.
Take care.
Take
Peace.
care.
Bye. Adiós. Hasta luego.
Bye all.